When the priest is ready to begin, stand with your partner near the bell. When the priest indicates, ring the bell and walk down the steps to the floor. After 3 steps, the server on the left stops and faces up the steps. The server on the right pivots around so that both servers are now facing up the steps. The servers walk up the steps. The server on the left stands in front of the left chair, and the server on the right stands in front of the right chair. When the priest arrives in the center, all genuflect. Then the servers step up and turn around. There are 5 signals you need to recognize when serving Mass. The first signal is the priest saying, "Let us pray." When he says this, the server on the right goes and gets the book. And stands in front of the priest. When the priest opens the book, place your hands under the book and hold it for the prayer. At the end of the prayer, close the book and return it to the credence table. Then sit for the readings. As usual, you stand for the Gospel, sit for the homily, and stand for the prayer of the faithful. The second signal is at the end of the prayer of the faithful. The priest concludes the prayer, then he turns around and walks back toward the chairs. That is the signal for the 2 servers to rise and go to the credence table. The first server takes the chalice, the second server takes the book. The chalice is placed on the altar off to the right of center. The corporal is then unfolded and placed in the very center of the altar. To find the center of the altar, look at the clock or the doors leading to the narthex. Place the corporal in the center of the altar. Place the chalice on the corporal, then the paten, then the pall and purificator. The book is then placed on the altar at an angle, touching the corporal. The full setup then looks like this. Then both servers go to the credence table near the baptismal font. The first server takes the cruet of wine, the second the cruet of water. Remove the caps and place them on the table. The servers then walk to the altar and stand at the design that is carved into the altar. Stand at a 90-degree angle to the altar. Hold the cruet in one hand in front of your heart, with the other hand placed on your breast. The priest will take the cruets, use them, and return them to you. When the second cruet is returned to the server, both servers bow. Then they go back to the credence table. Replace the cruets on the table. Then the first server takes up the pitcher and dish, and the second server the towel. Return to the altar. The first server pours water over the priest's fingers. The second server presents the towel, which has been unfolded. When the priest returns the towel to the second server, both servers bow. They then return to the credence table, place the items on the table. Then they go down the steps and stand at the bottom step. The third signal comes when the priest says, "Let us offer each other a sign of peace." At these words, both servers come up the steps and stand near the altar. Receive the sign of peace from the priest. Remain standing there. Receive Holy Communion in the usual way. After receiving communion, go to the chairs and sit. This is your time for personal prayer. The fourth signal comes when the priest passes the altar candle on his way back from distributing communion. When that happens, the server on the left rises and goes to the credence table. The server picks up the cruet of water and stands at the usual place at the side of the altar. The server pours water over the priest's fingers until the priest raises the chalice slightly. Then the server returns to the credence table, replaces the cruet, and comes back to stand at the usual place at the side of the altar. When the priest leaves the altar, the server places the purificator in the chalice, then folds the corporal, and then sets up the chalice. The chalice is then taken to the credence table. Meantime, the other server takes the book from the altar and places it on the credence table. Then both servers sit on the chairs next to the priest. The final signal comes when the priest says, "Let us pray." At these words, both servers stand, and the server nearest on the left goes to get the book and stands in front of the priest. The priest opens the book and the server holds it for the closing prayer. When the prayer is ended, the server closes the book and replaces it on the credence table. When the priest goes forward to kiss the altar, both servers step down and turn around to face the tabernacle. The priest steps between them. Then all genuflect together. Then turn to the right. The server behind the priest steps in front so that both servers are together. Then both servers lead the priest down the steps to the floor. They turn left and lead the priest to the sacristy. In the sacristy, both servers stop midway between the door and the vesting case. With the priest, they bow to the cross. Then the servers attend to the 3 C's. They put out the candles using the extinguisher. They bring in the cruets. The cruet of wine is refilled. The water cruet is also filled. The cruets are placed in the fridge. The chalice is brought in and placed on the vesting case. Then the chalice is placed in the cabinet and the key is replaced on the hook. Finally, remove the cross and cincture and replace them in the closet. Then remove your alb, place it on a hanger, and fasten the top snap. Hang the alb in its proper place in the closet.